Welcome in to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the College Football Show. It is week 9 of the FBS offseason. As we all know, there is no real offseason. I say it every week. I'm going to continue to as well because there's constantly news. Everything is constantly changing. We're getting into spring football. FCS is still rolling. Their season is going on. But it's time for SEC, Big Ten, all that spring practice. Ohio State's on a COVID pause right now. Who would have thought that? Duke is on a COVID pause in the ACC. There's all kind of stuff going on. But we're going to give you the biggest news, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today. Today, we're going to talk about which team is going to be the next to make their first CFP appearance. We are going to talk about Kansas, again, what they should do after they have officially fired Les Miles. We got all kind of stuff. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and dive in and tell you what you need to do. And that is go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF after the show, of course. Go ahead and listen to us. Then head over there for all of your college football gambling needs. They cover everything. We've got a fantastic crew at SBR, and I can't say this enough. I am so proud to be a part of this organization. They do things the right way. They give you the information that you need, and they give you a ton of it. So go and check it out, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. As far as the video is concerned that you are watching right now, hit the like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel because we do this every week. And with the NFL draft coming up, with the season previews and whatnot, we're going to be in your feed a lot. So make sure that you are subscribed. And we all know it's bracket time. We all understand that. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel because the guys from the 3-Man Weave are hitting your box every morning. So go ahead and subscribe, like the video, jump into the comments. We would love to hear from you as well. Anything you like about the show, anything you don't like, topics that you want us to talk about, etc., you can always jump in the comments with that, or you can find us on Twitter. I am at GaryWCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
And you can also email us as well. I'm Gary at winningcureseverything.com.
And I'm Chris at winningcureseverything.com.
We make it very, very easy on you. Very easy. So let's go ahead and get into the topics of the day. First topic is Kansas has officially fired Jeff Long, that is the athletic director, and Les Miles. Now, we spent last week talking about all the stuff that went on with the Title IX issues at LSU and whether or not they were going to get rid of Jeff Long because if the basketball program or any program on campus gets hit with probation or anything from the NCAA, then you would have to extend Jeff Long's contract by however many years of probation there are. And he was making a ridiculous
And we're certain at some point the basketball team will go on probation.
At some point. It's been since 2017.
Yeah, but this is the way the NCAA moves. I mean, you know that. This is why negative recruiting is dumb. Anybody who falls for it's an idiot because you're not going to get hit with the violations that just happened.
Yeah,
the NCAA is not going to investigate for 3 to 4 years. When they do, it's going to take 2 to 3 years to litigate, and you're going to be a 5-year pro by then.
Yes. Had anybody told me that Sean Miller at Arizona was going to outlast Archie Miller at Indiana?
Yep.
Archie was hired when all of the FBI, NCAA stuff started at Arizona. Like, you could have gotten absurd, like 1,000,000-to-1 odds, like stupid odds that Sean Miller would be gone before Archie. And yet, here we are. But either way, that's college basketball. There's other shows for that. Sticking on Kansas, Les Miles officially fired hours after we last recorded. This was a week ago at this point. He was paid a $1.99 million buyout. Jeff Long, he did the press conference announcing the firing on Tuesday, and he was asked by Andy Staples of The Athletic why Kansas would pay Miles after he lied about his past. And Long said, and this is shortening it up, but he said, that's a legal question. And he said that it was debatable that it is a lie.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people jumped at this and immediately, you've got to fire him. What are we talking about? Da-da-da-da-da. The truth of the matter is, and if we're going to be fair about things, Jeff Long could not call Miles a liar.
That's right.
Because there is a non-disparagement clause in the settlement contract. So he couldn't say anything bad about Les Miles at that point. Either way, Jeff Long finds himself without a job.
But this is a he said, she said situation still anyway
Basically.
At LSU.
Yeah.
While there's a lot of he saids against Les, it's still nothing that we have hard evidence or proof of. We all believe it happened.
You know how the media is, though.
But we can't prove it. So therefore, Jeff Long is right. In a court of law,
it is debatable.
I would have lost, which means I'm paying for my court fees. I'm paying for his court fees. let's just cut him the $1.9 million check and be done with this, because it might have cost $3-4 million in court.
Exactly.
And I still got to pay the 1.9.
So while we look at it from a very logical point of view, there are a lot of media outlets that will immediately scream to the high heavens that Jeff Long is an awful human being and Les Miles and all this kind of stuff, right? Agreed. Agreed.
You can be bad at your job and not a terrible person.
Agreed.
Like, that's allowed, right?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Just making
sure. His biggest issue here was that he hired one of his buddies to try and rebuild a football program, even though Miles was fired from LSU for not being able to adapt to modern football.
No, hang on. But Miles' knock, he couldn't win. He didn't win. But Les did adapt to the modern day program the best he could with the talent they had at
Kansas.
Yes,
somewhat. He missed on his first offensive coordinator, switched offensive coordinators in the middle of his first season.
Immediately. Yeah. As soon as he realized this guy ain't the guy, I'm moving forward. He stayed young. He stayed with innovative dudes. It didn't work, but he definitely wasn't the guy he was at LSU who just would not come out of the pro-style I formation.
Yes, he did change a little bit, but that was believing in something that you had not seen at that point.
That's right.
So that's why Les had not gotten any other job offers. So, so the question now, we're not going to dig into who Kansas needs to hire as their next AD. Like, they'll figure something out. Which, how fitting is it that Kansas, who is tied up in an NCAA investigation / FBI scandal / whatever, they have a booster that is now the interim AD. You can't make this stuff up. So the question, rather than who is going to be the next AD, all that kind of mess, what does Kansas do next? How do they field a competitive football team? And we're not talking about winning championships. We're talking about
winning games.
Maybe be able to skirt into a bottom tier bowl game every now and then.
Yeah,
like put a scare into teams.
Winning 3 games a season. And your ceiling being 6 games a season.
Yes. How do you get to that
every
point?
3 to 4 years?
Now, we both have ideas about this, and I think that we would be fine with either one. I think the wrong answer here is to try and hire a head coach that is going to build it the same way that everybody else in the Big 12 is doing it.
Yeah. If you go hire a spread guy, if you go hire a high octane offensive guy, you're going to lose, because your horses against their horses lose that race 100% of the time. So I'm telling you, how do you beat Goliath? You cannot fight Goliath on Goliath's terms.
Yes.
You have to flip the script, and you have to fight him on your terms.
Right.
You have to change the rules.
Now, to change the rules, like, the other wrong answer is to go and get a guy that can recruit. Like, they tried that with David Beatty. He was at Texas. He was also a high-octane offense kind of guy, whatever. He was quarterback's coach. But he was known for being able to get recruits. He was known for this and that. That's not how you do it either. The way that you do this, the first name, and we love this name.
Yes.
Kevin Kelly.
Yeah. This is a guy I followed for
years.
About a decade.
Yeah, long time. Pulaski Academy, Arkansas High School. He has won like 6 out of the last 7 state championships. And they do not have bigger players than everybody else. They don't have better players, all that kind of stuff. He doesn't punt. He always onside kicks. He goes for 4th downs, etc. Right? He builds the program entirely around analytics. What is my best chance to be successful here?
Right. He follows the numbers blindly and religiously, and he trusts his players to execute.
Yes.
If it's 4th and 13, he believes we can get a first down here.
Yeah,
I've got play calls in the book. We do it all the time. What if we get a PI call? What if we get a defensive holding call? We don't even have to complete the damn pass then.
Yeah.
We just get the first down. Like, too many good things can happen if you continually push the envelope.
Yes. And you are constantly going to have the defense back on their heels.
That's it.
The other big part of this with Kevin Kelly, he was asked about this by Andy Staples, and he said that he would do it for $90,000 a win, and he said, and we will win.
And we will win.
There's something about that confidence that I absolutely love.
I told you I'd hire him tomorrow. Hey, listen, if Big Boy Booster at Kansas is struggling to find an AD, I promise you I will take this job. I will take this job. It means I have to leave this job, and I love this job. I will take that job. I will take all the NCAA infractions. I will ride it all out. I promise you. and I don't know how I would fix all of these issues, but whoever takes that athletic director job can't just be another lifelong athletic director. It has to be somebody who knows how to problem solve, who knows how to see the problem from outside the box, who has to get 10,000 feet above it and look downward at it.
Yeah.
You can't just say, well, when we go on violations, when the NCAA comes in, this is what everybody else has done. This is what we're going to do. You can't play that game or else it'll cripple you. Somebody go call Tennessee and ask them how they should have handled the Bruce Pearl situation many years ago.
All of them would admit that they should have just kept Bruce Pearl.
Just keep the guy. I'm going to tell you what I would do right now at Kansas. Whatever infractions they bring down on Self, I'm going to say Self. You willing to miss a year's worth of paychecks or 8 games worth of paychecks or 20, whatever the length is that you got to pay a show clause, you willing to miss those paychecks? Because we'll cut your salary substantially low. You name the interim, and then
we'll bring you back.
And then as soon as the show call's over, you just step right back in the seat.
Yeah, because it's not like you're going to go somewhere else and coach.
No.
Like that's the biggest thing about some of these schools. Like everybody is so worried about the public perception. And
you have to stop.
When you stop doing that.
You have to stop caring what everybody else says. I would have done the exact same thing at Ole Miss with Hugh Freeze. Now, I love Lane Kiffin. I think they have a home run coach in the league. I actually like Lane more than Hugh. I personally do. But Hugh knew how to win. Lane's never won at the level Hugh won at this big boy level. All right, Lane doesn't have wins against the Nick Saban ever in his life. So I would have kept. I'd have kept Hugh. I wouldn't have fired Hugh. I've said it on our other show. I've said it I've been public about there's a right way to handle this. There's a wrong way to handle this. And every athletic director just assumes everybody is crushing LSU because they still have Will Wade. Well, why in the hell would? Do we think we can find somebody better than Will? If the answer is no, then whatever the NCAA brings, we will take. Yes, we broke the rules. We've been caught, thanks to the FBI, not any thanks to the NCAA, hapless punks. Let somebody else do your work for you, and then you just cheat off them. That's fine. But we got caught with a hand in the cookie jar. Whatever the punishment is, we'll ride it. I'm telling you. And I would absolutely call Kelly. And I would say, hey, nobody's won here for 7 years, a decade. So if you come and you do something unconventional, you say you will win, I'll take you at your word. You say 90,000 a win. That means we could go undefeated and you're barely cracking $1 million. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do that. I'll pay you like 250,000 a win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like make it completely incentive based.
Yeah. And guess what? You know what, boosters? I'll tie my contract to his. Okay. I'll take my contract to him. If he fails, then I fail. You can fire me. No
Easy
calls.
Enough.
No payment. No buyout.
The other side of Kelly. Now, he's completely analytics, all this kind of stuff. That's a whole different thing. The other side of this would be
a military guy.
Moving to the triple option. Not even necessarily military, but a guy that knows the triple option, right? Willie Fritz knows it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Willie knows it. That's right.
There's all kinds of different guys
out there.
And the guys at Georgia Southern, obviously, Chad Lunsford. All of those guys, they know what they're doing. It is a completely different style of offense, which in turn makes for a completely different style of defense. A lot of if these high octane offenses can't get on the field and get into a rhythm,
that's right.
There are ways to do this.
Go ask Army how they've kept teams on those side. I mean, there's been games where Army's held the ball for 45 minutes of a 60-minute ball game before.
Yes,
it's really hard to score on them.
The Kyler Murray Oklahoma team scored 21 points on them in regulation.
Yes,
that's it.
That's it.
Because they only had the ball for 15 minutes.
Kyler Murray, the number 1 pick in the draft.
So obviously, everybody talks about, well, there's all the negative stuff around it. You can't recruit to it. Well, they can't recruit now anyway. They say it's tough to work out of when you go to hire another coach afterwards.
That's right.
Well, Georgia Tech just went through the same thing. And Georgia Tech, in 2 years, is better than Kansas is right now. So it can't get much worse than what it already is, right?
How hard do you think it is to work out of a coach of a program that has won like 3 games in 4 years? How hard is that?
I mean, I would imagine that's a little more difficult.
I think that's pretty hard. It doesn't matter what style of football you're running. These guys have less wins than they've played in seasons.
If you want it, like staying on Kansas, but kind of delving off a little bit, a little bit to the north, to the east a little bit. Nebraska might be better suited to go back to the triple.
I agree with that.
In the Big Ten.
Disagree. But look at the recruiting base. Draw a circle around them. Draw 200 miles around them and see what kids they're getting that are considered local.
I mean, it's almost impossible.
Because they're not.
Yeah.
They're not getting – there's not a 4-star within 300-400 miles that's coming to Nebraska.
And in the Big 12, like looking back at Kansas, in the Big 12, you don't have defenses that can stop a powerful triple option running attack.
No,
they can't do it.
They can't stop many offenses, period.
Agreed. But if you start pounding them at the line of scrimmage,
they'll lose their will to play.
Exactly.
You'll break them.
So now you may not win 12 ball games a year. You may not go undefeated, but you are certainly going to be competitive.
You'll win more games, and you won't get blown out. It's hard. If you hold the ball for 35 to 40 minutes, it's hard for the other team to blow you out, even if you just kick field goals.
Yes.
Because they don't have the opportunities to be on the field enough possessions, even if they score in 3-4 plays and your defense is trash.
Yeah.
They're only on the field 4 to 5 drives.
I agree.
I'm
with you.
So you just can't get blown out.
The biggest thing for Kansas is keeping things. There's a lot that goes into keeping things respectable, right?
Right now, that's where you're at. Moral victories are real right now
for Kansas.
They're
for
real.
Sure. The biggest key for Kansas is you have to be different. You have to be different than what everybody else is doing.
If you play the same everybody else, you lose 100% of the time. You cannot beat Goliath on Goliath's terms. You just can't do it.
That is correct.
That's not how you beat giants.
We brought up Nebraska, so let's go ahead and bring them back up because this past week, Nebraska tried to get out of the 2021 game this season, game at Oklahoma in Week 3. Now, it is the 50th anniversary of their 1971 Classic matchup.
That's right.
Nebraska AD, Bill Moose, he had been researching scheduling a home game against a bye opponent. Now, that is a G5 FCS.
Pay for win.
Yeah, pay for win. He was digging through the contract with Oklahoma, trying to figure out a way to either move the game to a later date or just cancel the game altogether. Whatever. It's September 18th of this year. And it'll be nice to see those uniforms against each other.
That's right.
You and I kind of disagree on this as to whether or not they should have canceled the game. Okay. Nebraska is not in a position right now to be able to compete.
That's right.
With somebody like Oklahoma.
We think this is going to be a 20-point spread?
At the least.
Yeah.
At the least. I think that Oklahoma.
So not a competitive game at all.
I mean, we're talking 4 touchdowns. This is Nebraska, Ohio State from 2 years ago.
Correct.
That's what this is. Nebraska, again, not good enough to compete with Oklahoma yet. An away game does not earn them a lot of money. After a COVID season, you were trying to get as many home games as possible. You were trying to kind of rebuild the fundage for that athletic department. They're already in a little bit of financial straits anyway, and you've got a coach that if he doesn't win this year, that seat literally will be on fire.
And I do think we're in a situation where the athletic director is tied to him.
Oh, very much so.
I think if Frost fails, I think this is a situation where you don't get to hire the next guy. You're both gone, and we start over.
Yeah, we start the whole athletic department over.
Which, if that happens, I know I've said a lot of horrible things to Nebraska, but I'm here. I'm here.
I will take the AD
I'm
job.
here, and I can fix. I promise you, it'll be different. It'll be better than it is.
I think again, Nebraska could certainly go back to the triple, and it would be effective this time because it was effective because it was different the last time, now it's different this time.
It's hard to prepare.
Yes, absolutely. So I believe that yes, while the uniform matchup and whatnot would be fun, I don't think that this is a competitive game. I don't think that this game, taking a massive loss on national television in a big-time spot here to an old rival is going to help you out with your boosters. I don't think it's going to help you out with the fans. I don't think it's going to help with Scott Frost and being able to keep him around longer. Rebuilding this football program, you're going to have to be able to get confidence. You got to be able to get some wins and bring in another check at home, bring in some more money and whatnot. And I understand one home game isn't the end-all, be-all, but I don't think that it's any worse than going to Oklahoma and getting your brains bashed in.
So I like competition. I believe in the Bobby Bowden philosophy of when you're not good and you want to be a big boy, you go play the big boys. Now, you pack your bags, you pack the bus,
the difference,
and you go play those big boys.
Let me tell you the difference in what Florida State did back then. That was way back when.
It was a long time ago.
And those were bye games. Those were games where Florida State was trying to build their athletic department. Right. It was before they were part of a power conference.
Correct.
So they were trying to build up their athletic department. They were trying to get the money and be seen as many places as possible.
That's right. Those games were on TV. Now right. Every game's on TV.
And it's a lot different now. So as far as Nebraska is concerned, Nebraska getting to 6-6 and making a bowl game, I think is more important than being able to go and play against Oklahoma. They play tough competition every week in the Big Ten anyway, right?
No, they don't, but that's okay.
Well, not every week. They play a lot of good competition in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but all those teams are the only good competition are all better than them.
Right.
By a lot.
So you're already playing teams that are better than you anyway.
Yeah, so I'm softening on this, okay? And I'll tell you why. The AD hit me. They're going to keep the game because he couldn't figure out a better way to move it.
And the press got a hold of this stuff.
So I get it, and I understand.
It's another one of those public perception things. Quit worrying about what the media says.
I definitely tell you this. If I would have made my mind to cancel the game, everybody trying to force me to not cancel the game, I would have just done it anyway. Yeah. Now I'm digging my heels in because I don't like people making demands. No. We're not going to demand anything, okay? If I make a bad decision, I made a bad decision, I'll pay the consequence for it. But you now trying to demand me do things, that's not how this is going to roll at all. He got me in this. I do understand that it's not the athletic departments that get obscene amounts of TV money that have lost a lot of money that I care about at all, okay? I think these are all bullshit organizations that don't pay their players. And they funnel millions upon millions of dollars through the school, and it goes to stupid stuff instead of things that these kids actually need. The people that are actually being hurt from COVID, especially last year, are your local shops around campus.
Yes,
where nobody showed up on game day, and at least 8 times a season, you're going to make your nut for that month. You know that during football season, those 8 home games or 9 home games that you can get are going to pay the bills for the entire calendar year. And I own a small business. I understand the struggles of that, and that makes sense to me. And him coming out and saying, because I'm going to bet that's a lot of his boosters, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to bet this isn't just all a bunch of oil money and stockbroker money.
Ain't a lot of oil in Nebraska.
No, but corn money, farm money. But you know what I'm talking about. It's a whole lot of boosters that give a couple extra $100 every couple of months, and those guys are hurting.
Oh yeah,
those guys are hurting. His responsibility to them, I've actually softened a lot on this, and you know how I just don't like the mob. I wasn't trying to be part of the mob. I gave my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think you should cancel the game. I think it's a historic game, and it's a 50th anniversary. Just play the game, take your ass whooping, and we'll move on. I think you can get better from that. But anyway, neither here nor there. I don't like the mob trying to force him to change and him giving in to the mob.
Yeah, I really didn't like that.
That's a part that I'm more dig my heels in. And you know what? We're gonna blow whatever game that we bring out. We're gonna do something special to make sure we get every fan that we can down around campus. Even if you can't make it in, I'll set up screens all across campus. Just be here and go to these shops and go to these restaurants and buy from them.
Yep.
Just come to Lincoln and set money on fire. Just spend it wherever you can spend it.
Yeah, I like it. There are so many different things, because when you see a story like this, it's immediately, Nebraska's trying to run from competition.
Yes.
But there's always so much more under the surface.
I understand there's more under the surface, and I knew that when I had my opinion about it last week when the story broke. I think you should play the game, but I now understand, and then I also don't like giving in to the mob.
Yeah.
I don't like giving in to demands.
I will tell you this. A bye game, because everybody wants as many home games as possible, right?
That's right.
Bringing in a bye game opponent, say they bring in, they were talking to UT Chattanooga last year.
It cost them $1.2 million.
It's something like that. They'll make $5-6 million off the game alone.
Easy.
But UT Chattanooga, if they were to play a home game, you ain't looking at anything like that.
Oh,
like
no, it's going to cost them money.
Yeah,
the amount of security and extra like medical personnel that's got to be on campus and all this stuff, that they're not going to break even.
Right. So UT Chattanooga doing like a game at Nebraska,
that makes their nut for the year.
Exactly. So it helps out even more people. We all like to see Nebraska and Oklahoma play, right? I think I would like to see it more when Nebraska's in a little bit better spot. But I don't know that they ever will be.
But the problem is, until they recognize they're not Nebraska anymore, and they're willing to. The problem is Nebraska has won enough games recently enough, quote unquote, and they've pulled off upsets recently enough to where they've convinced themselves they would never have to change who they are to do. Kansas has anybody at Kansas has any preconceived notion that they shouldn't just throw everything against the wall and try anything different, then they're just wrong. You have no preconceived notions that what you're doing is working.
Now I think you're right. I think you are right. Moving on, Fox Sports has announced that they are replacing Urban Meyer, who obviously took the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching job. For their Saturday morning show, they are going to bring in Bob Stoops to be the new big-time coach that they've got that's entertaining and whatnot. Now, I love this idea.
I do.
If we get the correct version of Bob Stoops.
Yes.
Now, I want the goatee, tequila-slinging Bob Stoops. That's what I want. If we get super professional, clean-cut, whatever, I can do without that Bob Stoops. He does all the coach speak, all that. I'm out on that. Bring me the fun one that'll actually speak his mind, and then I'm good.
Teach me something, tell stories, and
be willing to criticize.
Be willing to criticize, because every week somebody's going to do something that needs to be criticized.
Yes.
And you have to be the one to point that out, because we won't always catch it. We haven't been involved in the game the way you have as long as you have. You have an expertise that the fans don't have. But if you're not willing to say that expertise because you don't want to criticize a kid or a colleague, former colleague, then why are you sitting there?
Yeah, there's no point in you actually being on screen. None. So it did bring up another interesting question, though, and that is, who is the most entertaining coach as far as TV goes?
This answer is the easiest thing in the world for me.
Now, obviously, we've got it would have been Les Miles had it not been for all the other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Les is taking himself out of the running.
We've got Lee Corso on College Game Day. That is the big kahuna, right? He's the big tuna. He's the big.
He's the godfather.
He's the guy. As far as who could be next in line now, and I'm going with guys that are still coaching. I'm going with one guy in particular who I know you're going to say. Do you want to say him or do you want me?
No, yeah. This is a hero of mine. It's Steve Spurrier.
100% the head ball coach.
You want to talk about a guy who just he is not afraid to criticize. He will be entertaining. He will be funny, and he will teach you about football.
Yes, I think he is the number one guy.
I do not think there's any way on earth he will do it.
I agree.
Because you're not getting him off a golf course on a Saturday morning.
Now
therein lies the problem. Yeah. If he could record on Wednesday afternoons, you get him.
Yeah. I tend to agree.
That's the problem.
Now, if you're letting him play Monday through Friday, maybe you get him for Saturday morning.
You better be flying him back and forth to Augusta.
I think I can get down.
That's the problem. Is when that game is in Seattle, when that game's in Ann Arbor, somebody's got to get a private plane, which they've got them. Somebody's going to have to get him a private plane back to Augusta.
That is true. That is true.
He's not playing your golf course.
So I've got 5 names of other guys that are all still coaching.
I love the list. I love it. There's one name on here I did not expect to see at all, and it made my heart smile.
Is that the last one?
No. That's the one guy I think you could actually take off this list.
Maybe so. I think he could be. So let's roll through the list.
Give him the list.
These are all still active coaches.
Yeah.
Brett Bielema.
I love Brett.
I think would be absolutely
super
hilarious.
Entertaining.
Yes.
Super entertaining.
So He's at Illinois now. He's trying to rebuild that thing. He's still young as far as coaching goes.
He is the youngest on this list, probably, right?
I would say so.
I don't know that for a fact. He looks the youngest.
Yeah, I think he is. He and Gundy, maybe. I don't know.
You keep talking.
So, Bielema, I think, is number one on this list. Well, it's between him and this next guy. The next guy, Mike Leach, it doesn't get much better than the Pirate. He is very willing to criticize, very willing to speak his mind, and can talk about anything. He didn't play the sport, but he can tell you exactly what is going on with every single play at every single moment. He is fantastic. Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State head coach, obviously the mullet, that adds a lot to it. Now, I don't know what the politics would do to him.
I think he could do it.
I mean, he's entertaining, for sure. Steve Adazio.
This is the name. This is the guy.
Steve Adazio is great. He is one of the most quotable coaches that is still out there.
Warmed my heart.
He's
that I would have never guessed.
I mean, if you think about it, if you think about his interviews and whatnot, like, what's better than this? Yeah. A bunch of guys being dudes, right? Like, it doesn't get better than that.
He could fill that seat pretty well.
His accent is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's super interesting to listen to.
Yes.
So I do enjoy him. And then finally, last one on the list, Gus Malzahn. Yep. He's really Southern. I mean, he's from Arkansas. He has his own type of dialect. He's got his own accent, and incredibly smart coach. And he can keep you entertained as well. If you actually listen to some of the interviews with him, he is surprisingly capable of keeping your interest. Yeah. There's some coaches that, I mean, they're just boring. Like Nick Saban, he's a big fish. But if you listen to Nick Saban talk for a while, like it's monotone, it's very calculated.
He's a more animated Bill Belichick.
Yes, very much so. So
he's not there for the dog and pony show. He does not care about your dog and pony show.
The rest of these guys, I think, are a little more dog and pony.
Yeah, I love Mike Leach.
Yes.
And you know I love Mike Leach. There's not a company in the world that would pay Mike Leach and put a mic in front of him and be responsible for the things that he says.
If we were to start our own,
I would pay him anything I could afford.
The money that you would make.
I get that. At some point in time, big corporate America, he's going to say something big corporate America doesn't like, and he's going to tell them and you, his employer, shove it.
Yes.
F off.
And that is ratings gold.
I love him. I worship this man.
Did you look up ages?
Yeah. Brett Bielema is 51. Gundy is 53. Adazio's 60-something. Malzahn's 55. And the only guy I didn't look up is
Leach has got to be late 50s.
Leach, right? Leach has to be older.
I mean, he's got to be.
But that's the only one I didn't look up. 60. He's 60 years old. Yeah.
Yep.
So Bielema is quite a bit older than the rest of them, younger than the rest of them.
That would make sense. So, and who knows? I mean, if this doesn't work out for Bielema, I don't know that he goes back to the NFL. I don't know that he goes the coordinator route or anything like that. I think he may just say, you know what? I just got paid a crap ton of money from Arkansas to go away. I just made a crap ton of money at Illinois. Like,
we'll see.
Me and my hot wife, we're going to go and
I think all these guys are good. I like this because not all of I don't think Urban Meyer was good on TV. I don't.
I will say this, really informative. Like,
yes.
I did enjoy when he was breaking down plays and
he did a few things where he taught you about the game.
Yes.
But then he did the John Gruden thing where every player he ever talked about, they're all great. Every one of them are going to be Hall of Famers one day. Just go ahead and get the jacket ready. And I'm thinking, that's just not so. You're just kissing this guy's ass, which means because you're telling me they're all great, I can't believe you when you say any of them are great. Therein lies the problem. Don't tell me every one of them are going to be great. They're not. Be honest. Don't bullshit me. Don't sell me a bunch of stuff that's not true. You don't believe. That's the problem. I can tell when you're talking, you don't believe the stuff that's coming out of your mouth.
There's a way to do it where you talk up their potential and still keep it real.
You can be honest without being mean. I'm not saying you have to crush these guys. I'm not saying you have to expose all their flaws. But you cannot sell them all as if they are the greatest things of all time. You cannot sell every coaching move during the game as if it was all right, it just didn't work out. No, some of these guys do things that are just patently wrong. They're just mistakes. And if they work or not is irrelevant. They were wrong.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving forward, topic number 4 here, and this will be the last one on the news docket. There are changes possibly coming to the college football overtime rules. The new proposal says that going for 2 will start in the second overtime. So you get through your first overtime. Say a game is, 21-21. Both teams score a touchdown in the first overtime, 28-28. You're headed to the second overtime. And then all of a sudden,
you can both kick an extra point in the first one. In the first one. It's your choice.
In the second one, you have to go for 2.
You have to go for 2.
So at that point, it'd be 36-36 or 34-34, whatever. After that second overtime, it's just 2-point play, sudden death.
One play, next team up. One play, next team up. One play.
And every one of them is only worth 2 points. So there is a very strong possibility here that your teasers and whatnot on totals, not going to get wrecked by going overtime by overtime by overtime. You're not going to get any more 74-72.
I do think that the books had a lot to do with pushing this rule.
I would say so. No, it has not been approved yet. I would expect it to because it's just moving it up one more, right?
So what I would like to know when this happens, when we get to this point, here's what I want. I want to know we're not going to a TV commercial break between every play. I need to know that. I mean, I would be happy literally if on this end zone, this offense and defense was lined up ready to go. And on this end zone, the opposite offense and defense, because nobody's playing both ways anymore. And that way, they can run their play and start the play clock. 40 seconds later, they can run their play. The offensive coaches and the defensive coaches, the head coach is going to have a tough job managing it all. You got to trust your coordinators. You go to the side of the ball you think needs the most help. And maybe not 40 seconds. Maybe you give them, 60 seconds and then start the play clock. I don't want a TV timeout in between every time we're running these guys off the field, running the next units on.
Yeah.
That's going to be awful to watch.
Well, and the other side of this is I think a big part of this was coaches pushing for maybe not as much wear and tear on the bodies of the kids, right?
Well,
and it's not just the plays itself, but the LSU A&M game stirred up a lot of issues because those kids were still running plays after like 5 hours on the field.
That's right.
It was a long game.
No, and I love everything about it. Don't kill me with the pace of the play. I see no reason with the amount of television coverage and cameras that are on field now. There's zero reason you can't have offense and defense on opposite sides ready to go.
Yeah.
You got 2 end zones for a reason, damn it.
I agree. All right, let's talk about an interesting topic here. And, we're in spring football. We're getting ready to rock and roll a little bit. And if you look at the college football playoff, there's only a handful of teams that have actually made it in the first 7 years. Alabama has made 6. Clemson has made 6. Ohio State and Oklahoma have each made 4. Notre Dame has made 2. So that's 5 teams that have made multiple. Now, you've got LSU, Georgia, Oregon, Florida State, Michigan State, and Washington that have all made 1. Let's see. I should have counted up the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams have made the college football playoff in the first 7 years. That's not good. That's not what you want to see. The teams that have not made it, we want to discuss who is the next team that is going to make their first appearance. Now, it's been a long time since Florida State and Oregon made it in, right?
Michigan State was
2015. So
I forget Michigan State ever made it in.
I know, right?
That's insane.
It is. It really is. Washington as well, with the up and down nature of their program. It's kind of crazy that they actually did. But either way, their coach made it in. A few years later, he decided to retire. Is what it is, right? He got his playoff appearance, and now he's adios muchachos. So the teams that have not made it, I'm going to go through a list. I've got a whole list of them, and then we can kind of decide who we think is going to be the next one.
Well, I already have the answer, and it's happening this year.
I would love to know this.
Yeah, it's done.
Who is this?
It's the greatest stick man in the state of Texas, and that's not Matthew McConaughey, my friend. It is one Jimbo Fisher.
Texas A&M is definitely very high on the list.
You do realize that when he won his national championship, he did it with a true freshman quarterback. So them coming into the year with a true freshman quarterback don't scare me at all. If anybody knows how to take a young gun,
it wasn't a true freshman. It was
Jameis wasn't a true freshman.
No, he was a redshirt freshman. But either way,
still young,
the guy that's
no experience.
The guy that's coming in behind Kellen Mond is a sophomore. Yeah. So he'll be.
I'm just telling you. I trust this man. I know he's been criticized a lot for getting the amount of money he's gotten and doing very little with it, quote unquote. I fully believe last year would have been drastically different if we don't have COVID, because of the amount of opt-outs they had.
That's okay. I do like what you're saying.
And I think this team is loaded. I think they bring a lot of guys back. The guys he's replacing, I trust Jimbo.
Florida,
that's my answer.
Florida, I think if they were going to make it last year, would have been the year.
That's it.
I think they might. This is going to sound ridiculous. They might be on a bit of a decline with Dan Mullen. I trust Dan Mullen as a coach.
They'll be fine. I think they'll take a little step backwards from last year. I think they'll be fine long term.
Josh Pate over at 247 Sports that we had on a few weeks ago, his thought process on Dan Mullen coached like a senior that knows he's about to leave high school.
Yeah, he coached like he really thought he was going to be here this year.
He thought he was going to get an NFL job.
Yeah.
And that obviously did not happen. Now he's stuck there, and he's on a 3-year contract right now. They have not extended him, and he's pretty irritated about it. So, Florida, if you had told me, before last season, I thought they
some of this is on it. Some of this is on Florida's athletic director and their administration. Okay,
yeah,
you go and hire the most prickly person in the SEC, and you are shocked that he's prickly and like really unlikable. Hang on, wait a minute. That's on you, man. If you hire a guy who's a known bona fide asshole, and then you're surprised he's an asshole, no, that's on you. That's a fireable offense on your part, because everybody else in the SEC knew who Dan was.
What's crazy is Scott Strickland, the AD at Florida, was the guy that was with Mullen at Mississippi State.
You know this guy. There are no surprises.
I think it's the boosters and everybody else.
Well, that's shame on Strickland for not preparing them. Listen,
agreed.
I'm going to bring this guy in. He's crazy. He's from Maryland. He's not from the South. He doesn't think like we do, and he doesn't care how you think. He's going to do what he wants. He's a weird guy, and he's going to tell you to shove it. Trust me, he's a really good coach.
Now, so yes, as far as coaching goes, hell of a coach.
He's a really good guy. I'd take him.
I think it's going to be a while before Florida is in a position again to compete for a playoff berth.
I do think they're losing too much. A&M's not losing near what Florida's losing.
Agreed.
That's why I like them.
USC, I've got next on this list. As far as most talented teams in the country go, they are top 10 every single year. If they can ever find a way to flip that switch. They got lucky a lot last year. They kind of got it handed to them by Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Yep. Last year was a strange year.
Yeah. I'm not criticizing anything.
Clay Helton is severely underrated.
I like him. I told you that I think he gets overly criticized, and I don't. We made up our mind on him year one, and people just won't move off of that stool. And if you keep saying he's a failure, eventually he's going to be bad enough to justify firing, and then you could say, "Oh, I was right." Well, what about these 5 years where you were wrong?
As far as the schedules go, USC has got the best opportunity to get to the playoff because they don't have the same thing that Texas A&M has to go through, that Florida has to go through, right? And same with some of these other. So Texas as well. Texas is always going to have to go through Oklahoma, Iowa State, whoever, as long as Matt Campbell's there.
I don't see. Let me tell you my issue with USC just for this coming year.
Okay,
I am married to the fact that it's 2021 college football season is going to be the year of Herm. I believe it. I feel it.
I didn't put Arizona State on here. But
I feel it in my. No. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think I feel it in my heart, in my stomach, in my bones. I feel it in my balls. Herm is going to be. They're going to win the Pac-12 next year. I believe this man is going to be special.
Jaden Daniels as a junior, I could believe it. Yeah,
they've got an elite talent at quarterback. They've got a ton of dudes coming back.
Their offensive line is
NFL
sick.
Coaching defensive staff. I think all these big offenses that they're going to play, I think they're going to slow them all down.
Oh yeah, and they can run the ball.
They
can run the rock.
I might be dead ass wrong. It's the only reason I'm not picking USC for this year.
Texas. I
don't like Texas.
I think obviously
such a rebuild.
All of these different shows, we have been over their booster problem, all that kind of stuff. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. They bring in somebody like Steve Sarkisian.
Call me when Sark grows a spine and wins a big game.
There you go. Penn State might have missed their opportunity.
Yeah, they COVID killed them last year because they had a ton of opt-outs, and they were loaded, man.
Oh, yeah.
They were. Them and A&M were hurt more by COVID than – you can look at what happened at LSU. Listen, those two schools were hurt more than any school last year.
Penn State has got to figure out the quarterback issue. It's not just Sean Clifford. It's like they were okay with Trace McSorley at quarterback. They were better than usual.
I think he was a product of the rest of the guys on that team being real good.
Am
I wrong?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Because
I'm not sold on Trace.
We've seen the programs that make it to that championship level. It is all the other guys being good, and then you have a guy that's not necessarily transcendent, but somebody that can absolutely take the game over. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, LSU.
Yep.
All of them. When they have a guy that is an absolute leader at that quarterback position, that they can trust.
They can drive the car. They don't have to be the engine. They don't have to be the heart. They don't have to be everything. They got to be able to drive a hell of a car.
Yeah. So Penn State, I fully believe, should be on the list. Michigan,
I agree with that.
I think Michigan's going to take a while.
I need to see 2 years of this new class coming in. Their quarterback, they've been a trigger man away for a while.
And J.J. McCarthy might be.
He could be that.
Might be the dude.
But we don't know that yet. So I
don't.
can't put them up there yet.
Miami, Florida, I like what they're doing with Manny Diaz. And while I feel like they've got the quarterback thing figured out with Derek King right now,
they got to win this year if they don't.
Derek King is not the guy that's going to take you to a playoff.
Well, he's not going to be there after this year. So
Agreed. But that's what I'm saying is that if he plays well enough,
you
can draw
the next guy.
Yeah. Can they bring in that next guy? Whether it's through the transfer portal or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So much of this could be changed. I mean,
the NIL stuff is
in one off season because of the transfer portal. I'm basically looking at all these teams within the 2-year window because somebody new is going to get in, if not this year, next year.
I got 2 at the bottom of this list.
Okay.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Sam Howell at quarterback. Obviously, they lost a lot on offense as far as weapons go last year. The defense is going to be better this year. The offense
should go better. They should.
Well, so they're losing a lot of production as far as skill position, right?
But just running backs.
But running backs and Daz Newsome, right?
Yeah,
so they're losing a star wide receiver and their 2 best running backs.
I believe.
But they
got
guys.
You're going to replace running backs. I know that's so disrespectful to the position. I just think every year new guys come in.
I don't think the running backs that come in are going to do what those 2 did last year.
No, but I think they're going to be fine.
I think they're going to be fine because you do have the signal caller. Sam Howell is a legit good.
You got to have a trigger man. And you got to have an OC you trust and an offensive system that everybody knows.
Wisconsin.
I want this to be true, but Wisconsin hasn't been the Wisconsin I grew up with.
They have been recruiting better than Wisconsin has ever recruited in the history of the program.
You know, I don't pay attention to recruiting. I watch games.
In the last 3 years or so.
Okay.
They might have, obviously, quarterback didn't play that well last year, but they had to deal with all the COVID crap.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what's going to happen here. So they might have that guy, maybe, but you do need a transcendent quarterback to be able to get there. But what you've got
to be that guy.
If you are Wisconsin, remember they were 6 points away not that long ago.
I know.
Of getting into the playoff. All they got to do is get past Ohio State one time. Just win the Big Ten one time.
Or a Penn State take out Ohio State, and then you don't have to beat Ohio State.
Yeah. There's all sorts of different ways.
To think that Ohio State will just stay kings, we assume that because we've watched Clemson and Alabama do it. But Ohio State hasn't done it on the level Clemson and Ohio State and Bama have.
And the funny thing,
and I think there's a reason for that.
Well, Penn State knocked out Ohio State a few years ago to where Wisconsin and Penn State were playing in the Big Ten title game, and Ohio State still got into the playoff.
Yeah. Now they won it that year, so everyone says, "Look,
no, that was 20."
That wasn't the year. I thought the year they won it was the year they shouldn't have got in.
No, they won the Big Ten the year that they got in. Okay. But they lost.
I got those flipped then.
They lost. That was 2014. 2017, they didn't win the Big Ten, but they had beaten Oklahoma in the offseason. They beat like 2 other top 10 teams.
That's right.
So they didn't win the Big Ten, but they got into, and of course they got beat 31-0 by Clemson.
I got the seasons flipped.
Yeah,
that's right.
So Wisconsin, I think. Now, last year was not a good indicator of what this team is.
Nope.
I think they are fully capable of getting back to a Big Ten championship game. The West in the Big Ten, still very legitimate. Very legitimate. Yep. So, either way, is there anybody else that we should add to this?
I couldn't. You told me we were going to talk about this earlier today. I thought, I can't. Well, first, my brain, instantly, without even hesitation, I said, well, I know the answer because I think it's happening this year. And then I can't think of any. I wouldn't have came up with North Carolina. I wouldn't have put Miami. I wouldn't have put Michigan on the list because I'm thinking in a 2-year window because the next team to do it's going to do it within 2 years. The only team I can think of is if we do have a crazy year of chaos and Cincinnati beats Indiana
and beats Notre Dame.
They're going to be hard to – they should be on the list more than half these teams. Because if they go undefeated next year and Notre Dame has a really good season, I think it's going to be real hard to keep them out if we get chaos elsewhere.
What about Iowa State this coming year? I think it's a possibility. I mean, they bring back 96% production or whatever it is.
They will have to have beaten Iowa and Oklahoma. And I think both those teams are going to be top 10 teams.
Yeah.
Maybe not Iowa top 10 by the end of the season.
But top 15.
But top 15, yeah.
Iowa's schedule sets up brilliantly.
Yeah, it really does. That's a hell of a resume. Having that non-con game against Iowa, it's going to help them this year.
Oh, for sure.
If they can run it.
If Iowa State wins the Big 12,
they need to be undefeated.
Or one loss. Even one loss, I think.
I think an undefeated Cincinnati gets in over an Iowa State.
You say that, but Iowa State with 3 losses last year was still ranked higher than.
I understand that.
Higher than Cincinnati.
And I know, I get that. I believe in my heart of hearts that at some point in time, these people are going to say we can't keep doing this.
I think the best bet for Cincinnati would be in 6 years when they expand.
Well, yeah, that's obviously a much better bet. No
Actually,
doubt.
that wouldn't be in. That's not 6 years. That's 2025. Yeah. So we're looking at
4 years away. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, obviously, yes, that's easier. If UCF is a 1-loss team to Cincinnati, if Memphis is a 2-loss team to UCF and Cincinnati, like if you can get things to go right,
that resume looks better. Right?
Notre Dame, Indiana. I think the Indiana win's not going to help them. I think Indiana's going to take now they're getting Michael Penix back. Maybe they don't take that step back. But if Indiana falls back to what they used to be, that win's not going to look as great. Notre Dame,
and if Notre Dame ends up like 8-4,
if Notre Dame has 4 losses, it doesn't matter. If they're still
still Notre Dame.
That's a pelt you get to put on your wall, and nobody's going to take that down because there's still a blue blood in the sport.
That is a very valid point. Very valid point. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the FCS Week 4 notes right quick. We'll just get through what happened last week just to give you an idea. Underdogs went 23-13 last week against the spread with 11 outright wins.
Put a blindfold on.
And bet the dogs.
And click the button all the way down.
3 wins as 10-point dogs last
outright.
week. 3 outright wins.
11 outright wins. I don't have the stones to outright win it all the way down.
But if you just bet dogs,
all dogs
on every game, you'd come out ahead.
You'd be like 60-something%. I mean,
it's a massive number right now. I haven't done all the numbers.
It's big.
Yeah, it's big.
It's been basically this every week. It's been 20-11.
I know last week was 18-12. The week before that, it was like 19-10 or something. I mean, it was crazy.
No, it's
so. Yeah, it's
stout.
Underdogs are covering. The book has not quite figured this stuff out yet. But
I don't know if there's anything to figure out. I think this is just how chaos works.
100%.
I fully believe that if you flipped all the point spreads, you'd still get 23-11.
Yeah. Sam Houston State.
Go ahead.
Absolutely destroyed number 7 Nicholls State. Nicholls State was leading all FCS teams in points scored per game. They were leading all FCS teams in points allowed per game. All that kind of mess, right? It was just bananas. And they beat them 71-17. 71-17.
So they're not leading any of those stats anymore, right?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
So the question now,
that's how analytics works, by the way. This is why one guy doesn't believe in them.
Is Sam Houston State actually legit now? Because they were an FCS powerhouse back in the day, more than a decade ago, whatever.
It was just a random Saturday.
Or was Nicholls vastly
in March? Neither of those things are true. Neither of those things are true. You know what? It's a weird-ass Saturday in March, and we're not supposed to have football on Saturdays in March, and the football gods are saying, to hell with you people. You think you know? I'm literally just jacking all this up.
You might be right.
Take your analytics and throw them away.
Southern Illinois beat number 3 Northern Iowa 17-16. That is Southern
what was
Illinois'
that spread?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You don't remember the spread? That was one of the big spreads, right?
No. Southern Illinois, this is their second top 5 win. Remember, they're the team that actually beat North Dakota State.
That's right.
This was a top 10 game.
Okay.
So, but that's their second win over a top 5 team this season. They beat number 1 North Dakota State. They beat number 3 Northern Iowa.
You think that means they'll win next week?
Probably not.
I don't.
I don't believe so at all.
I bet against them.
I mean, but we'll see. I don't know.
Just blindly
they got South Dakota State coming next week.
Just blindly bet against them. I don't know what the number's going to be. We don't have any numbers for this week, do we?
Not yet. But I'm gonna. We got some previews. We're gonna go through. We got some analytics, all that good stuff. North Dakota, they keep rolling. They get a win over Western Illinois. That's not anything to be surprised about, except that it was the first road game and they beat them 38-21. So North Dakota now 4-0 sets up a massive top 5 matchup with North Dakota State this weekend. North Dakota State, of course, beat Illinois State 21-13. Interesting nugget out of this one, they swapped quarterbacks this week. So we have talked a lot about Zeb Nolan. He has not been up to par as of late. Cam Miller. Yeah, that's right. Freshman Cam Miller comes in the second half. He gives them a little more of a running threat than Zeb did. Okay, we'll see if this works. Obviously, we think North Dakota State's defense is still pretty good.
He's going to have a tough task next week.
Oh, most certainly. Number 2, Weber State, they survive. Number 23, UC Davis, 18-13 after being down 10-0 at the half. Playing with fire. Jackson State, Coach Prime, they're up in the top 25 now. Now, they are not going to be in your FCS playoff because the SWAC, they just do their conference championship game, and then that's it.
They made up their Mississippi Valley game from a couple weeks back.
43-7.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
That's a beatdown.
Mississippi Valley.
Absolute beatdown. All right, let's get into the Week 5 preview, and we will start off with the biggest.
We get Jerry Rice to come back to coach Mississippi Valley.
Boy, that'd be a lot of fun.
We just really mess things up in the state of Mississippi.
I don't think Jerry Rice wants anything to do with that.
I don't either. Why would you?
That's of course I didn't believe that Deion Sanders would want anything to do with it, but
you be living in Mississippi Valley. That's a tough life.
That's a mess. All right, so. Number 2, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks at the number 4 North Dakota State Bison.
This is game of the week.
Saturday, March 20th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on ESPN+. Obviously, NCAA tournament's going to be going on, all that kind of stuff, but it's still a massive, massive game. The metrics, they like North Dakota State 26-20 in this game, a line of about 6.5. Yep. If you look at the recent metrics, which Sagarin likes to do, they've got North Dakota favored by 5 points. So, I mean, we're talking a whole swing, 11 points.
I told you. It don't matter. Whatever point spread ends up being the thing, just take the dog. It doesn't matter.
North Dakota State freshman, we just talked about Cam Mitchell. He is 5 of 7 passing for 61 yards after last week. He's got 16 carries for 64 yards and 1 touchdown rushing. Took over for Zeb Nolan. So now North Dakota, who has got a fairly decent defense, okay. The big thing for North Dakota is their offense. Tommy Schuster, the quarterback, 68.5% completion percentage with 7 touchdowns, 2 picks on the year. Can they keep it rolling with the running back tandem of Otis Wee and Luke Skokna? They've got 9 rushing touchdowns combined this year. They have already got 700 yards rushing between the two. And that is a 1-2 punch that you don't want to deal with. And then, of course, Schuster at quarterback. They are legit. North Dakota State's defense gave up 38 points to Southern Illinois a few weeks ago. Part of that was because of Zeb Nolan throwing interceptions. I'm real curious about this one. If North Dakota State's not throwing, if they're not turning the ball over, does this end up being low scoring? If I had to guess, North Dakota is I would imagine they will be the favorite. I would imagine it'll be closer to like 3 or 4 points.
Okay.
I'm going to roll with North Dakota State to be able to cover this. I think when the big dog is down,
I just need to see the spread. But yeah, I'm with you.
When the big dog is down,
when the team that's supposed to be good, and everybody's counting them out.
Yeah, and then there's the hype team.
That's when you play them.
Exactly. There you go.
This you see when everybody else is zagging.
You got it.
Especially in this game right here, because the football gods don't like Saturday in March football.
Especially in North Dakota. You got that right. So,
I don't think anywhere. Jackson, Mississippi, they like it.
Probably so.
They like it in Jackson.
Probably so. All right, moving on. We got another massive game. Another Missouri Valley Conference game.
This is a top 10 matchup.
South Dakota State Jackrabbits at the number 5 Southern Illinois Salukis. You got number 6 against number 5 here. This is Missouri Valley Conference, whatever. Saturday, March 20th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This one's on ESPN Plus as well. The metrics have got this one, South Dakota State 24-23. And they've got them favored basically around 1.5 points. I am not sure what to think about this. Southern Illinois' defense, number 87 in rushing defense in FCS. South Dakota State running back Pierre Strong, and then they got 2 freshman running backs, Mark Gronowski and Isaiah Davis. All 3 of them average over 5 yards a carry. If South Dakota State just doesn't get cute, just don't get cute.
Just run the football.
Run the football.
Gus Malzahn needs to coach this game.
Yeah.
Just run the football.
I know
we've ran the ball 37 times and we've passed it twice. We're passing too much.
Yeah.
We just keep running the football.
Like, if you know that the other team cannot stop it.
You don't have we've ran all the plays in the playbook. We don't have any more running plays. Run them again.
Run them all. Keep going.
Just keep running it again. Over.
Whatever the line is, I would imagine that one's going to end up being around a pick 'em.
Probably.
Or maybe because it's a home game, you might even have Southern Illinois as like a 1-point favorite or something like that. So who knows how home field advantage is kept up with an FCS.
I got no idea.
Either way, I will take South Dakota State.
These are 2 lines that we don't even know what the lines like. We're usually good at we can tell this team is going to be favored. We don't know by how much. Maybe it's a touchdown. Maybe it's 10 points. Maybe it's 6.5. But it's going to be in that world.
We got no idea right now.
We got no clue
for
the first 2 games. I do think both these games are going to be good games. Now, maybe the Juju football gods that hate football in March are going to make one of these or both of them just complete and utter ass thrashings. But
it's possible.
It's
very, very possible.
They kicking the football off in March. Anything's possible.
You are correct about that.
Get Kevin Garnett out here because anything is possible.
You are so correct. Moving on, number 11, the Chattanooga Mocs. They are playing at the number 13 Furman Paladins. Saturday, March 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is 11 a.m. Central Kick, Guides time zone. ESPN Plus on this one as well. Furman, an analytical favorite, 24-20. They are expected to win this game around 4.5 points if you're just looking at basic number. Southern Conference here. Chattanooga defense, number 10 in the country in yards per game. Furman is number 19 in the country in yards per game on offense. Furman's quarterback, you're going to love this name, Hamp Sisson.
Hamp or Hemp?
Hamp.
Okay.
He's got a bit of a gunslinger mentality.
All right.
So
Turns
far,
the ball over a lot?
4 games this year.
That seems to me what a gunslinger means.
Very much. 8 touchdowns and 5.
Can catch it.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like you're going to have
it
either
doesn't
really
hit
good,
the ground very much.
Right. Really good or really bad is going to happen. Yep. In 4 games, he's got 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions passing the football. Yep. A lot of yards passing, all that good stuff. But yeah, win or lose, like how he plays against the Chattanooga defense is going to be the difference here. Chattanooga's been able to turn the ball over a little bit. I'm I'm interested. Like, Furman is supposed to be a really, really good team. They've already taken a loss so far this year against VMI. VMI made their first top 25, I believe, in program history. But either way, Furman expected to win this game. I mean, you get one or two of those picks going the other direction.
That's going to change the outcome of the game.
That's what Chattanooga does best. They take care of the ball, and they make you beat yourself. So if you got a gunslinger quarterback, it's kind of the Brett Favre thing, right? That's everybody knows him as the gunslinger, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if you're scoring points a lot, I mean, this is the Bruce Arians of football. No risk it, no biscuit, let her rip, tater chip. Let's just go. I'm kind of coming to that side of the fence.
Yeah.
From the fans' perspective, it's just fun.
I think so as well.
It's just more fun.
We got 2 more games to dive into, and we will start off with number 12, the Delaware. Hey, hold on. Do you know their mascot?
I do know their mascot.
That's right. You got the sheet.
But before the sheet.
At Garoppolo.
Right. I once dated a girl who went to the University of Delaware.
Get the hell out of here.
No, man. No.
Down here in Mississippi?
Many moons ago. Yes, she came down to Ole Miss for a semester.
The Delaware.
Didn't last very long. It was fun, though. Had a good time.
The Delaware Blue Hens facing off against the New Hampshire Wildcats. So number 12 against number 20. Saturday, March 20th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. This one's on Flow Sports, so you'll have to pay $30 a month to be able to get this one. Delaware is expected to win this one 21-17, closer to like 3.5 than 4 as far as the analytics go. This CAA game, through 2 games, Delaware's defense, number 1 in points per game allowed. 1.5 points per game they've allowed. Yeah. And it's not like, it's not awful competition.
So they're giving up a field goal.
It's
That's how that works.
That's it. 1 field goal in 2 games.
It's tough to beat a team like that.
Yes. They are number 5 in the country in yards per game allowed, 192. Now, again, this is only 2 games, but still. Like, you've got a 2-game sample size.
That's tough against air.
Yes. The question that we have here, now New Hampshire is ranked, but they took a loss to Albany in their only game thus far. Their offense looked okay in that game, but
offense better look better than okay if you want to score against a team that.
Yes. Quarterback Max Brosmer, we got to see, is he going to be able to figure out this defense and get some points on the board? My guess would be no. Again, the Kevin Garnett thing. Anything is possible at this point. Delaware has looked like an absolute legit title contender.
Is this an under no matter what number bet?
I think it might be. I think you'll be able to get the total around 40 or 42, somewhere around there. I would imagine this game probably stays closer to
22 total.
Well, I was going to say, mid-20s, upper 20s, somewhere around there.
Okay, mid-20s. Okay, yeah,
pretty crazy. Right?
This is an under no matter the number.
Yeah, I think so.
Do they have the balls to make the total in the 20s?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I doubt it. But we'll see. I don't know.
I'll be interested just to see the number.
I am curious.
I'm gonna play it now.
I am very curious.
That I'm definitely doing.
Finally, last game that we're going to talk about. This one is interesting, if for no other reason than the mascots.
Okay.
The number 23 Richmond Spiders against the number 1 James Madison Dukes. Now, this is Saturday, March 20th. Again, at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the late afternoon game on Flow Sports. Analytics have got James Madison 27-17.
Yep.
And it's around 10.5 points. CAA game, of course, James Madison may be swapping from their senior quarterback here. Now, if you get North Dakota State and James Madison, who were the preseason number 1, number 2 teams, swapping out of their upperclassmen quarterbacks to move to significantly younger guys. Now, in James Madison's case, they're moving to a junior. But their senior quarterback, Cole Johnson, has 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions thus far on the season. Junior Gage Maloney, he looked better last week. Well, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. Richmond, the only common opponent that they have thus far, Richmond beat the absolute mess out of Elon. And James Madison had to come from behind to beat them. Like, it's ridiculous. It was 17-6 Elon heading into the fourth quarter, and James Madison was able to score 2 touchdowns.
Those were played on 2 different weekends, right?
2 different weekends.
They didn't play Elon the same weekend?
No.
Okay. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
In this world of football, that kind of logic is not.
I will say this.
Is not important.
Thus far this season, James Madison has been playing with fire.
From behind.
Lately.
All the time.
Yes. Always just, and of course, the turnovers, that's probably what causes this.
That's right.
So James Madison expected to be favored by 10 points, somewhere around there. I'm going to take Richmond, and I might take Richmond on the money line.
Well, yeah. They're catching points, right?
I think Richmond is absolutely legit.
Why not? That's the only answer I got.
I can get down with it.
Why the hell not?
Spider against the Duke.
Yeah, I don't like spiders, though.
I don't like spiders either.
I don't either.
That's some scary
I'm not afraid of spiders.
Oh, I am.
I don't like them.
Terrified.
I'm only afraid of 2 things.
Snakes.
Snakes and heights.
Snakes and heights.
I don't do that. Just saying that, I won't sleep tonight. Because all I'll think about is the snake just snapping at my face every time I close my eyes. So thanks.
I think we're going to get out of here. Is there anything we need to cover?
No.
All right. Enjoy your brackets, my friends. Of course, go over and check out our boys, the 3-Man Weave, on the College Basketball Show. They are going to be able to help you win your brackets. So knock that stuff out, of course. Again, you can follow us, ask us questions, whatever, on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
I'm at Chris B. Giannini.
Make sure that you like this video. You jump in the comments, of course. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, topics you want us to hit, et cetera, et cetera. Your opinions on these. Of course, we had a lot of questions early on with the news. Should Nebraska have backed out of their game against Oklahoma? What should Kansas do? Who should they hire next? Most entertaining college football, all that kind of stuff. We want to hear your comments. So jump in down there. Let us know what you think. Again, like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That is the biggest thing. Subscribe to the channel. We're rocking and rolling right now.
That's right.
And the season's going to be here before you know it.
We're going
to start doing season previews soon. I mean, all kind of different stuff. So stay locked in right here. We would certainly appreciate that. SBRpicks.com/NCAAF. That is the website that you need to have bookmarked. You need to visit that thing on the regular because all the news, stats, info, all that kind of stuff is going to pop right in there. So go ahead and do that. Nothing else. We're good. All right. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you all again next week.